Welcome everybody. This is an overview of QuarkXPress 2018 that we are announcing today and which will be available on May 16th. As always, when we release a new version of QuarkXPress, which we have done for the last 4 years every year, so 2015, 2016, 2017 and 2018, building on top of that, we are selecting certain focus areas where we improve QuarkXPress or where we offer new innovative features. So for 2018, we are going to show you some nice new text and typography features that build on top of the unsurpassed features that QuarkXPress already offers. We will implement some new things for professional print and digital publishing features. We deliver more of the wishlist features that you requested us to do to implement in QuarkXPress. And we're going to add to the powerful user interface. And maybe one feature just to mention, because it's kind of obvious, but I think everybody likes that. We don't force you to rent. QuarkXPress remains cloud-free. There's no subscription. It's a perpetual license, which means that it runs unlimited, so you can run it as long as you have a Mac or Windows PC supporting QuarkXPress. Your projects are always accessible. Upgrades are possible from any version, so you can even upgrade from QuarkXPress 3 or 4 if you want to. And also, if you're an InDesign user or CorelDRAW user or Microsoft Publisher or have Adobe Photoshop, then we also have a nice offer for you. You can upgrade from these packages using the competitive upgrade. So a brief overview of what's new in QuarkXPress 2018. You don't need to read all of that. We're going to go into all areas today, showing you what QuarkXPress 2018 has to offer. First one, typography. First class OpenType support. I think OpenType is a very, very powerful feature if the font designer puts in additional OpenType features into the font. And designers should really use that, or if you care about typography. The problem always is in most packages and almost all packages that you don't have easy access to the OpenType features, or you see all of them and you don't know which ones are available. So let's have a look what QuarkXPress 2018 does differently. So here I have some text. This text is set in the Winsome font. And if I zoom in there, it's a very nice font. The special thing about this font is it has 33 OpenType stylistic sets built in. So let's have a look at the OpenType features. Down here, I have my OpenType button. And if I click on that, you already see a difference in QuarkXPress 2018. I now get a dedicated OpenType style palette. And the nice thing about this is it only shows me the OpenType features available in this font. It doesn't show me all of the OpenType features possible in QuarkXPress. I can do so by clicking here, but I don't want that. I really just want to see what does this font have to offer. And it has, for example, some titling alternatives that somebody already applied. So if I take that out, I can see, okay, I like that better. Maybe some swashes, that looks nice too. Some stylistic alternatives, and I can also combine them. You can see that here with the checkboxes. Checkboxes you can combine, radio buttons, you have to decide for one of the features. There's also these stylistic sets, these 33 I mentioned. So very nice to see all of the features that this font has to offer. So let's move on to another one. So this one here, my headline, Old Creek Cabin. Have a look what happens when I click on that text box now. You can see that, I'll go back, you can see that my OpenType palette is actually changing, and it only shows me the features available in this font now. So this one, for example, has has small caps, or has small caps from capitals, or all small caps. So I can choose all of them. I don't have any stylistic sets, so I'm not seeing them here. And I also see a preview how this will look like when I apply it. Let's move down here where I have a phone number, so it becomes maybe obvious what the preview does. So when I select this, you can see /0 here. I have a /0. So if I check that, all of my zeros get this slash. I don't like it, so I'll take it out again. Again, I can see only all of the features available in that OpenType font, and I'll also see a preview. So you have direct access to the relevant OpenType features now. So first class, OpenType support. When you've used QuarkXPress before, then you know that QuarkXPress has these PBI buttons for plain, bold, and italics to apply font styles. And access to font styles of the font are done through a submenu. QuarkXPress 2018 does that slightly different. So let's zoom into this font again and let's apply bold. So what you can see here now is down here I have a styles menu where I can actually see what kind of styles are in my font. So I can choose bold here, or I can choose italics. Well, if you prefer the little buttons here, the bold and the italic, then what you can see is once I hit the bold button, that bold is automatically applied. Now, of course, you can get a preview of these styles, so you can see what you're applying. It's the same thing for the font listing. So if I want to look at that, you can see I see still all of the previews of my font. So a nice addition. So basically doing the same thing like before, but I think this is optimized because you can see the font style immediately. So again, quicker access. When it comes to hyphenation, QuarkXPress has always been at the forefront of hyphenation qualities. With QuarkXPress 6.5, we integrated the Diekmann technology, which is the best hyphenation engine on the market. And now we made it even better. You can choose between different strictness levels, so how many hyphenations do you actually want to see in QuarkXPress, and what should be the hyphenation rule, only separating compound words or separating everyone. This is of course more obvious for languages that have longer words or have compound words, which is typical for German or French or Spanish, Italian, not so much for English, but still it will work in English. Let's have a look. So what I have here is a page with different languages. My first column here is English. Let's have a look what happens when I select this text and I go to my paragraph tab and the measurement palette. You can see this is set to strictness 5. These are H&Js that I created before the demo. You can create any kind of H&Js. And let's just switch that to strictness 3. Have a look what happens in the text. Hyphenation changes. This is of course the same if I select the German text here. I go from strictness 5 to 3. You can see also here hyphenation has changed, and the same thing for French, because this feature is available for all languages where we have a hyphenation engine. So strictness 3 also changes something in French. So what actually happens here? Let's zoom into one of the words here. Let's select professional. I am set to strictness level 3, and I'll go to utilities, suggested hyphenations. And you can see here QuarkXPress says, well, you should only hyphenate the word between the two S's. Okay, let's change that to strictness level 5. So swapped around a bit because of course I have more hyphenations now at the end. But what I'm really interested in is what's the suggested hyphenation for this word at this strictness level. And you can see that QuarkXPress now tells you you can also hyphenate this after the syllable pro. So this will give you much better hyphenation control. To set this up, you go into H&Js. You can create maybe a new H&J, and here is the strictness level. Legacy is like QuarkXPress used to do it, still a very good hyphenation engine. And here you can improve it. So you can say only compound words, or I want to have static hyphenations, or I want to actually hyphenate everywhere where grammatically this is correct. So that's how I set up these hyphenation levels. So this will give you even better hyphenation quality in QuarkXPress 2018. Now let's come to the more fun part of QuarkXPress 2018. QuarkXPress 2018 is going to be the first layout program to support color fonts. What are color fonts? Color fonts is something that you've probably already used on your mobile phone, the typical smiley, so where one glyph has different colors in a glyph. Well, I'm not sure that I need smileys for print publishing. The nice thing is there are standards emerging, different standards, where you can use color fonts in print and of course in digital outputs. All browsers support some kind of color fonts, and Adobe Illustrator, for example, supports color fonts, and QuarkXPress is the first layout application to support that. Let's have a look how these color fonts look like. So I have a text box prepared here, and in here I'm going to type the word India. And you can see that this is an unusually looking font. So if I zoom in here, you can see the font is called, if I go here to my first tab of the measurement palette, it's called Batik India. And what it is, it's an SVG font. So what this does, it basically gives you a vector outline, and it's filled with some bitmaps. These bitmaps, they print fine, they output fine in web, and of course also in print. Of course, since the bitmap, you have to be careful, your PDF will get larger, and also if you enlarge the font too much, typically these bitmap fonts have 1200 pixels in each glyph, so if they're too large, they also won't look nice, but they will typically, for a headline like here, export correctly in print, in PDF. So let's have a look at another font here. This is going to be a vector font. I have a picture, an image of Hamburg here. I zoom in a bit, and I'm going to type in Hamburg. Again, you see that each glyph here is made out of different colors. And of course, since this is a font, I can do anything that I can do with fonts. So I can kern or track it, so that I adjust this. And also when my client comes and says, I don't want Hamburg in there, I want maybe Harbor, then I don't need to manually construct that, because think about how you probably created these kind of effects before. You went to Photoshop or Illustrator or Affinity Designer and took a font, maybe converted that to outlines and made some embossing, some wood and patterns or something like that around it. So a lot of work that you had to put into designing these fonts, and now you just type. So there's a lot of color fonts out there, even free ones. They're a lot of fun. And if I zoom into this one, you can see that these are really vector fonts with all of the advantages that vectors give me. So I can enlarge them, I can zoom in and do anything I want with this font. It always comes out nicely in print or also, of course, in digital publishing. Another example, though they're called color fonts, let's type one here. This is a Take Charge SVG. And you can see this is a bitmap font again. And it's not even color, but what it gives me different shades of gray or different shades of black to actually compose this font. And this is also a very nice effect, more the watercolor effect of this font. There's a lot of color fonts already out there. And in the next slide, I'm going to show you some of the URLs where you can get color fonts. And also there's an article I wrote about color fonts that gives you more background about this technology. The nice thing is it really behaves like a font. It is a font, there's different formats, and also they're just fun to use. And this, I think, kind of summarizes it, what Kurt Lang said, one of our pre-release testers for QuarkXPress 2018, that designers will love color fonts because think of the time it can save. And before you had to do all of these things, and now you just type and it's done. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of nice fonts out there. Here's the applications that currently support color fonts. You can see Illustrator CC 2018 and Photoshop CC 2018. They support 3 of the flavors of color fonts, and QuarkXPress 2018 supports all of them. So you'll be on the safe side when you use QuarkXPress. You can use them as bitmap or as vector flavor as they suit you. And I'm sure there's going to be more applications supporting color fonts soon. Here's the URLs I promised, so 100+ free color fonts that you can try. There's also some background on color fonts that I wrote on Planet Quark, and maybe the next thing in typography, there's a nice article on color fonts, WTF, so please check them out. So that was type and typography. Of course, QuarkXPress is a lot about professional print publishing. So what did we add? What benefits do you have in there? One is that you can import InDesign files via IDML. We have seen many customers switching from InDesign to QuarkXPress and having the need to import their files from InDesign, their layout, so that they don't have to recreate them. And QuarkXPress allows you to do that with IDML files from InDesign CS5, CS6, and all CC versions. So how do I do that in QuarkXPress? I'll go to New, Project from IDML, and then what I do is I just choose the IDML file that I have, and I'll say Open. QuarkXPress is converting that and also importing a lot of the things that were part of the IDML file. So text will be text. You can see the boxes that I have in here. I can actually type, change the type, Bezier curves, tables now too. So a lot of the elements that make up an IDML file will be imported. It's not going to be 100% one-to-one conversion just because QuarkXPress and InDesign have different features, and there might also be some things that we don't support yet. I think you're still getting 90% in, depending on how your layout is constructed, and will save you a lot of time. So master pages will import, style sheets will import. Most of the stuff that are time consuming to recreate are being imported when you use IDML import in QuarkXPress, importing from InDesign CS5, 6 or CC. One thing that's going to be difficult to show, so I'll talk about that, is we changed some of the underlying technology in QuarkXPress 2018. We now use the best PDF technology on the market as the QuarkXPress print engine. So the Colors PDF print engine is part of QuarkXPress 2018, and the Colors libraries also contain Adobe's PDF libraries, which means probably higher quality PDFs driven by the two best PDF technology providers. And that means you can export PDFX, X1A or X4 for example, and also PDF-A. That's maybe something new, and it's very important when you create tagged or accessible PDF. And let's briefly talk about that. Accessibility for many people is important. When you work for a larger corporation or when you work for a government, often accessible PDF is a requirement. Sure, you could do HTML5, which is probably even more accessible than PDF, but often you need the PDF, so it needs to be accessible. QuarkXPress 2018 can export these accessible PDFs and also offers you accessibility tools to create these tagged PDFs. Let's have a look how that looks like. So I have a brochure here for pages that we created last year for QuarkXPress 2017, and I want to export that as PDF. So let's do that first, and I'll first do that without creating tags. I'll call that no tags, and let's open that after exported in Acrobat. So when I go to my Acrobat tag section, you can see there's no tags available. Let's recreate that, new PDF, and now let's check the tagged PDF option. So I'll call that with tags PDF. Again, export that, get that open in Acrobat. I'll go to my tag section, and now you can see that QuarkXPress has actually added some tags that make up these images, or the learn about. So you can see there's the first text and stuff like that down here in the URL in Acrobat. So this is better, but it's still not what I want, because now this text is first, and maybe I don't even want that text in my tags. I want the headline first and the body text, maybe the image. So I need to give my tags some kind of meaning and some order, and which tags belong to each other. And that's something that I can do in QuarkXPress 2018. For that, I open the articles palette, and now I can start creating articles. So this article is maybe my cover story. And for the cover story, I want the main image. So I'll click on my main image and I'll add that. That's my component 1 for this article. Then I want my headline, and I'll add that. Of course, I can maybe give it a meaningful title, headline, and I add my body text. Maybe also call that body, and so on. So you can see that I'm grouping and ordering these components. So if I want headline and body first, or maybe headline first and then the component and then maybe the caption, I can actually do that and order them so that QuarkXPress will export them in the correct order in the exported PDF, the tag PDF. Also, in my style sheets, what you can see here is for my, let's select my headline, I can actually define heading styles, which are important later on for the tag PDF, so it knows the meaning of these tags. And then maybe a last thing that I want to show you is if I have an image here, which maybe can't be seen by somebody who's blind, what I can do is add alternative text and maybe type in here woman with camera. And then I'm done and would export the PDF again. And then a screen reader can grab that alternative text and read that. And now to a very exciting and very powerful feature. QuarkXPress was always about extensibility and scripting. So up to QuarkXPress 2017, QuarkXPress offers AppleScript. Well, that doesn't work on Windows. And the thing with AppleScript is not many people know AppleScript, especially since the web has kicked off and there's millions of people knowing JavaScript. So QuarkXPress 2018 adds JavaScript. You can still use AppleScript, but the new thing is that you can now use JavaScript on both Mac and Windows. And it's a state-of-the-art JavaScript. It's ECMAScript v8, so the most current, and it's built on Chromium. So if you have a web developer knowing JavaScript, they will be able to start immediately in QuarkXPress because it's very, very similar. The DOM, so the document object model of QuarkXPress, is inspired by the HTML5 DOM. So if somebody knows JavaScript and HTML5 DOM, it's very, very easy to learn scripting in QuarkXPress. And to make it even easier, we included some sample scripts in QuarkXPress 2018. For example, a regular expression find and change. I'll show you an example in a second. Or to convert typed URL into live URLs, to sort paragraphs. And the JavaScript is that modern that you can even use third-party libraries or frameworks for JavaScript. For example, to read an IPTC information out of an image and maybe use that to automatically set the alt text or to create a caption. Let's have a look. So here I have a layout and I'm quite happy with it. The only thing I don't like is that the two people in the portraits, they don't face each other. So, well, it's not difficult to swap the two images, but it's time consuming. How do I do that? Using JavaScript, that's the nice thing about scripting. It really helps you to save time. So let's open the JavaScript palette. And what I can see here is I have no JavaScripts installed. There is some samples included with QuarkXPress. Might be more once QuarkXPress is available and there's more to download. It's very easy to add some, but that's my sample scripts right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the first and the second image here. And then I'm going to run my JavaScript by just either clicking on it, let's move that out of the way so you can see the effect, by clicking on the little run button, or by choosing right mouse button and then choose run here. So let's do that. Wasn't that easy? And that's the beauty of JavaScript. Let's have a look at another example here. For example, this one. I know layout isn't the nicest. I just did that to symbolize that you see better what's happening here. And one of the time-consuming things here is I want to format all 10-digit phone numbers in American-style phone number style. So brackets around the first three, then a gap, a space, and then another 3 digits, and then a dash and stuff like that. So if I have 100 or 1,000 of those phone numbers in my layout, that's really time-consuming. And that's where JavaScript can help me. So I'll go to my sample JavaScript palette here, and I'll say format phone number. And I'm going to run that and have a look what happens. So the first thing I get is a prompt. And of course, somebody who creates the script can create these prompts. So I want to prompt the user. Say, what format do you want to use? And I'm just going to use the American number format by just putting 9s in as placeholders. And once I click OK, you can see it formatted. And only numbers that have 10 digits. Well, you can see this one doesn't look nice. Remember the open type functionality? For that, I need to use proportional figures. And it looks nice. Well, I didn't want to show that. The nice thing is JavaScript, right? Grep, regular expressions, search and replace the whole document and format everything that you want to have formatted. It's very, very powerful, these scripts. What other scripts do we have? This page. What I'm going to do on this page is I have a text box with different paragraphs, and the text box is sorted by month. So what I want to do is I actually want to sort it by temperature. So to sort that, just click on the sort paragraph JavaScript, sample JavaScript, and it's sorted, right? Well, it's descending. I could also sort it ascending, just the way you need it. And same here. Let's just do that again, and you can see it's sorting. So how would I change a script that it's descending or ascending when it sorts these paragraphs? Let's just edit one of the scripts. So I'm going to hit that edit button. And what you can see here is I have my JavaScript, and JavaScript is just text. And of course, I could use text edit or Notepad, anything that I have. A very, very good JavaScript editor that's actually free is JavaScript Code. You can download that. It's by Microsoft. It's a free editor. And what it does really, it gives you type ahead, it formats it nicely and stuff like that. But that's not really what I wanted to show. What I wanted to show you is I wanted to show you how easy it is to change such a script. So here I have something sort ascending false. So let's put in true. See the type ahead. I'll save that. I'll go back to my QuarkXPress, and here's my sort JavaScript. And when I run that again, you will see that now the text box is sorted in the different order. So 47 first, the highest 88 at the end. So JavaScript gives you that power, and there's so many people knowing JavaScript. So even if you can't create JavaScript yourself, I'm sure you'll find somebody who knows JavaScript, or you just take a JavaScript that somebody supplies to you and then just modify that. Last example, what I want to do here is I want to format numbers. I want to add separators. So there's my script. I'll run it. It asks me what 1,000 separators do I want to use. You can use a comma like it's typical in English, or a point for Germans. I'm going to do a comma. Decimal is a period here. And what I can see now, all of my numbers down here are formatted the way I wanted them. So that's JavaScript, very, very powerful in QuarkXPress. Well, what if my JavaScript doesn't run the way I want it to run? For that, we have built in a JavaScript debugger, which is based on Chromium. Chromium being a component that also Chrome is built out of. So many web designers know how to use Chromium, is what you also see in the Chrome browser. So you have the console here. So if you want, you can actually see how QuarkXPress works. Let's just get all of the boxes here. I'll add that into my console. You can now see all of the boxes in the spread. Or you go into sources and you go into your scripts and you debug that, you set breakpoints. So if something doesn't work the way you wanted it to work, then you can actually do that here and add a snippet and then start adding breakpoints and stuff like that. So very powerful and always modern, the most current JavaScript version that there is on the market. So I'm sure this is something where we will see more features coming, because the nice thing is almost anything that you're missing in QuarkXPress, you can add with this. So you have a feature that you need in QuarkXPress and it's not built in yet. Why not create a JavaScript or have somebody create a JavaScript for you that will run cross-platform, Mac, Windows, and it's very easy to build and to maintain. Let's come to the second last area that I wanted to show you. We've already seen a lot in QuarkXPress 2018, which talks about digital publishing. I'm not going to show you too much because what we've done here is QuarkXPress has already a lot of powerful digital publishing features, and we built on top of them, we optimized them, we made them better. We added one new thing, that is create and export Android apps. So if I just go back to QuarkXPress, one thing that you all know is the ability to create a new project that is digital, right? So instead of print, you choose digital, you choose what file size, what page size it should have, or you just take an existing print and you convert that to digital. And then you can export that as iOS in QuarkXPress 2017. We've already had that out for a year. The good thing is no login needed. You don't need a system. It's created here on your desktop, that iOS app. Plus, you don't pay any extra fees to any service provider. And now in 2018, we have added the same ability for Android apps, single Android apps. So you can build both iOS single apps and Android single apps. There's not much I can show you here in that webinar to create an Android app, but it's pretty similar to what we do with iOS. You just say export, you can continue, you choose what you want to export, and now you have to put in all your details that you got from the Google Store. So you can create iOS single apps, Android single apps, and of course you can do HTML5 publications, which run in a browser, give you that app feeling in a browser without any plugin, without any Flash, all 100% HTML5. And there, what we've done is we optimized a lot of things. So for example, the type styles, outline, shadow, they export now. Tables are live. Maybe I'll show that in a second. Anchor text boxes export. There's a lot of things that we added. Maybe one thing that you should look at is we have added some experimental support for OpenType for digital. That was always the thing in QuarkXPress, because HTML5 or most browsers don't support that yet. What you have is when you go in here and you want to access your OpenType palette, you can't, because digital publications didn't support that yet, or browsers didn't support that yet. If you want to add that, go to Preferences, go to your digital layout in general, and check the OpenType support for digital. It's experimental. I think it will work, so you should try that. And now, well, if I click on that, this Avenir doesn't have any OpenType features. So let's look at Verdana. Also doesn't have any. What other fonts do we have that might look nice? Maybe the OpenType Arial. No, also not. Aldous Nova Pro. Yeah, there we go. So that has some OpenType features. So here I can maybe say I want to do old style figures and I want to do small caps. And now I want to export that. So let's do that. Let's go preview. And that's also one of the things that we added, so that you can either preview only the current page that you're looking at, or the complete layout, or if you build multi-device publications or responsive HTML5 publications, you can preview the whole project. And there's my first page. I can also see the OpenType features that I just applied. And once I go to the next page, actually I added in a color font. So you can see that also exports. It's a monster font that exports to digital. And here's my live table that I created in QuarkXPress. If you look at this page here, you can see color font is here. And here's my live table. So that's really nice additions in HTML5 publications in QuarkXPress 2018. What else? The first one we just saw, we also added the ability to add interactivity to groups. So when you group elements, that you can make them a button or an animation, stuff like that. So we really added a lot of wishlist features. We listened to people who are creating HTML5 publications and added the features, the optimizations that they needed. And of course, we also listened to every of our customers who ranked the wishlist features. Remember, we do that every second year, that we have you rank the wishlist features. And we added more, So one thing that we added is, for example, the ability to convert from digital to print. So if you start with digital and then you want to create print things, you can do that now. There's many things that I could still show. I'm going to point out one more is the extension interface is compatible to 2017. So if you have a 2017 extension, it should work in QuarkXPress 2018. And one thing I still want to show is the different borders for each site, because I think that's a very highly ranked wishlist item. I'm going to show this in this layout here. And here is another of these color fonts. And I like this very much because it kind of fits the theme for Peru. So it's kind of floral and all these nice little things that are added to the font. So that's something I think that, suits my layout here. And that's the nice thing about this color font. We even have numbers in it, stuff like that. So nice. But that's not what I wanted to show. I wanted to show you the different borders for a box. Typical thing is press Command B. I jump to my measurement palette down here, and now I can add a border or frame to my text box. And maybe I just want a border at one side. So what I can do in QuarkXPress 2018 is I can actually check the multiple borders here and then maybe just define a border for my left side. So I'm going to take this orange here, and with cursor keys I can maybe add something so you can see only one side of the text frame will get a border. Of course, if I want, I can do a different border, maybe magenta, on the other side here of my box. And I'll just add this with cursor keys again, up and down, with the powerful measurement palette here that we actually also added now for Windows. So Windows users, QuarkXPress on Windows will also have that powerful measurement palette that gives you access to all of the attributes that QuarkXPress has, like these different borders here. Streamlined user interface, I think this is very important, and that's something that hybrid users, so people using QuarkXPress and InDesign, mention as a big advantage of QuarkXPress is that the user interface is so much more efficient and effective and productive to use. And as I just said, for Windows, QuarkXPress and Windows, we now also provide that powerful measurement palette that we had on QuarkXPress for Mac already for a while. And of course it's keyboardable, so all of your shortcut keys remain. You just jump to the measurement palette and have access to everything without any dialogue obstructing your layout. We did hear from people though that when you have very wide monitors, I don't have a wide monitor here, I have a classical 2:3 aspect ratio. If you have these wide monitors, 16:9 or 16:10 or something similar, you typically have more space at the sides and not so much at the top or the bottom. So what we did is, this is the only macOS only feature that I'm going to show you, is what we did is we tried a new approach on the measurement palette. It makes it even more powerful. So if I want to look at my measurement palette here, of course I can make it larger or smaller, but I can now also on Mac choose the measurement palette to be vertical. So if I do that, you can see now it's vertical. It has vanished from the bottom and it's now jumped to the side. And here, especially when I have a wide monitor, which I don't, but if you have a wide monitor, you benefit from the additional space by not seeing icons here, but by really seeing labels. So if I go back to my Command B border, I can see multiple frames, I can see the width, I can style, everything is labeled. And of course, now I can start doing everything that I did before in the horizontal measurement palette, but much better for wide monitors. So this is going to be powerful. And let's see how many people are going to use the measurement palette at the side. I think many of you will do that. So coming to the end, system requirements, I think it's obvious. It's the last 3 versions of each operating system. So for macOS, El Capitan, Sierra, and High Sierra. For Windows, it's 7, 8.1, and 10. Remember, QuarkXPress is a 60-bit only application, so you can only run it on 60-bit operating systems. And maybe important if you plan to use Windows 7 for a longer time, QuarkXPress 2018 is going to be the last version to support Windows 7. Everything that we do in 2019 will not support Windows 7 anymore. So if you plan to stay on Windows 7, this is the version for you. So that concludes our webinar about QuarkXPress 2018. QuarkXPress 2018 is available on May 16th, 2018, and it elevates print and digital design to a new level. Of course, it's cloud-free, no subscription, and if you need more information about QuarkXPress 2018, go to QuarkXPress.com, and here again is the bigger features listed that we just saw and that are in QuarkXPress 2018. Thank you.